A very good afternoon to you. Welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. My name is Phil Obano. President Muhammadu Buhari has acknowledged the intellectual acumen of the author of the book, Muhammadu Buhari and the Challenges of Leadership in Nigeria by Professor John Padden. The president was speaking at the public presentation and launch of the book in Abuja. He notes that the author's capture of his political struggles and strives for Nigeria are not only accurate, but also reminded him of the long, hard path he had to come through in order to serve the nation.
I'm very grateful, especially to the author who tolerated me over the stories I tried to tell him. Him using intellect and professionalism. I just telling stories and enjoyed myself. How he get it together, it showed the vast experience and intellect he has. I thank him very much.
The launch, which attracted dignitaries from across the world, saw different speakers, including the President of Niger Republic, paying glowing tributes to the President for his commitment to the cause of Nigeria. The Senate Committee on Gas has held a pre-public hearing with oil and gas sector consultants. This is with a view to assessing the effective implementation of the NNPC joint venture cash call, which is part of the annual budget. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adeguloye reports.
The Senate had, prior to going on recess, ordered a joint committee on gas, finance and appropriation to investigate the progress of the joint venture, which comprises partners from various oil blocks. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Gas, Albert Akpan, after a closed-door meeting with the consultants, briefed the media.
The lapses inherent in the implementation of the joint venture cash calls, which had actually led to an outstanding liability of over $7 billion. We believe that the joint venture cash call is an inherent part of the budget as passed by the National Assembly. So any diversion or any non-implementation, it's a breach of the law of the land, and of course, we will definitely meet our appropriate sanctions.
A public hearing is expected to be convened for a clearer picture on what is the present state in the oil and gas sector. In another development, following his motion for a need to urge electronics manufacturers to set up their plants and factories in Nigeria, Representative Henry Achibong from Akwa Ibom State speaks further.
It is time for us to now look inwards and see how we can prevent capital flight, generate foreign exchange within our country. For example, look at MTN. You can see how much money that goes out of this country to South Africa.
Legislative business at the National Assembly is expected to resume on Tuesday, 4th of October 2016. From the National Assembly, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
To be ahead of cyberspace criminals, the Nigerian police force is equipping its units with modern technical tools as well as personnel development in tackling cybercrimes in the country. The Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, gave the indication at a message to the Interpol workshop on cyber crimes for African Interpol investigators. Edino Justice has the details.
Since more and more people are getting involved in cybercrime, police too are increasing their capacity in detecting cyber criminal. Part of this capacity building is a 6-day training workshop for Interpol investigators from African countries. Realizing the importance of being ahead of the emerging cyber criminals and offenders who now deploy new skills and technologies to defraud their victims, the IGP, in a message delivered by Hyacinth Dagala, the DIG Investigation and Intelligence, said bolstering police capacity in investigation is a priority.
Due to the international nature of most cybercrime offenses, my administration has set up and deployed a dedicated high-tech and cybercrime unit within the Interpol National Central Group in Nigeria. We envisage that in future, a Experienced members of this unit will be deployed to state police commands.
In cybercrime, there is no one country that can fight against this crime by itself. So we encourage all our countries to come together, especially like working groups.
For the next 6 days, the Interpol investigators drawn from both the Anglophone and Francophone African countries will be trained in cybersecurity. They are expected to be drilled in basic digital forensic, black web, online hacking, identity fraud, and many other areas of cybersecurity. From EFCC Academy Karo, Abuja, aiding of justice, NTA News.
Proven integrity is a factor that can breed productivity in the country's public sphere. The provost of Anti-Corruption Academy of Nigeria, Akan Kefi, Professor Shola Akimiande, stated this during the training organized by the Academy on integrity for senior executives of the ministries, departments and agencies in Nigeria. Muhammad Sani Awalu has details.
Declaring the training off, the provost of the academy, Professor Shola Akimiande, says integrity is a hallmark we should imbibe so that the society will move forward.
What we're trying to do is to ensure that different components, different sections of the public service, the public sector, that they have integrity systems in place in their organizations. Most organizations, both private and public, have deficiency in their integrity.
Participants say the training will go a long way in broadening their horizon and help in inculcating the culture of integrity in them.
The importance of integrity in any organization, doing the right thing at the right time, and standing on what is expected to be done.
We have to ensure that whatever we are doing, we maintain integrity.
Civil society organizations and officials of the anti-corruption agencies in the country were trained on corruption risk assessment by the academy. From Kefi, Muhammad Sanawulu, NTA News.
A four-man special investigation panel on the alleged extrajudicial killing of persons at Abakaliki prison during an attempted jailbreak has been inaugurated by the Executive Secretary, National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, Professor Bem Angwe. Lydia Bassi was there.
The incident took place on the 19th of August 2016. The commission, led by the Executive Secretary, embarked on an on-the-spot assessment visit to Abakaliki prison on the 7th of September 2016. From his observations, Professor Bem Angwe said the scenario suggested a riot rather than a jailbreak.
The commission had also been inundated with complaints and calls for investigation into these alleged extrajudicial killings from members of the general public, particularly members of the civil society organizations.
We welcome it because it will deal with public perception and issues that are raised by the public.
On behalf of my colleagues, I want to thank you for this opportunity and assure everybody that we'll do our best in the
Terms of reference for the panel include finding out the nature of human rights violations that occurred and to look into the situation of women with children in Abakaliki prison.
We found a nursing mother who is also pregnant, awaiting trial for stealing cocoyam worth 400 naira.
Professor Bem Angwe enjoined the police and judiciary to ensure speedy trial of inmates, especially over frivolous allegations, and called on appropriate authorities to support National Human Rights Commission to introduce requisite changes in the justice system. The panel has 1 month to complete its assignment. Lydia Bassi, NTA News.
The federal government is to introduce a special program tagged Livelihood Intensive Family Enterprise Live, an initiative designed to address the challenges confronting rural farmers and at the same time boost national food production. President Muhammadu Buhari, who announced this in a broadcast on October 1st, said the program is part of efforts to make the country self-sufficient in major food items before 2018. In this report, agriculture correspondent Musa Baba Aliu takes a look at the LIVE initiative and its impacts on the socioeconomic well-being of farmers.
Nigeria is estimated to be housing over 60 million farmers, producing over 70% of the food the over 170 million Nigerians consume daily from the small expanse of land they cultivate. 90% of these farmers reside in rural areas and rely on old farming techniques for the all-year farming activities, a situation that places them on poverty line. Factors responsible for this, as observed by agriculture economists, are poor farming practices, lack of access to good road network and financial assistance, as well as ineffective storage and marketing system of their produce.
Inputs, chemicals, they should be made available to them at subsidized prices.
What government can actually do is to buy off this produce from the peasant farmers.
Livelihood-intensive family enterprise is an initiative of the federal government aimed at addressing poverty among the rural farmers, creating jobs along the commodity value chain, as well as producing more food for the country.
Which is bringing life back to the village, making sure that the village people or the rural dwellers are empowered to be able to start industries, small scale, so be it, be able to sustain themselves, to be able to feed their family in a nutritious way, send their children to school, and begin to see a way that urban migration is reduced.
The program that will be piloted by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture in collaboration with state government with support of development partners will provide sizable modern farming tools for the rural farmers and connect them to off-takers after harvest.
We have a lot of silos around, but those are too big for them. And we're looking now at extension offices around the local governments where we can have some storage facilities.
Meanwhile, investigations indicate that the agricultural policy of the present administration, especially the Anchor Borrower scheme of the central bank, has been impacting positively on the livelihood of rural farmers. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
This is NTA Nationwide. You can watch this news live online via the NTA Mobile App, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Lagos is our first stop on Nationwide today as Cardinal Okoji speaks on new legal year. It's over to you, Ademola.
Thank you, Phil. Good afternoon and welcome to Lagos. Catholic Archbishop Emeritus of Lagos, Anthony Cardinal Okoji, has advised legal practitioners in the country to always lead the way in upholding truth and justice in Nigeria. He gave the advice during a Thanksgiving service organized by the National Association of Catholic Lawyers, Lagos Archdiocese, to mark the new legal year in Lagos. Annie Daniels has the details.
Members of the National Association of Catholic Lawyers and Family Friends turned up in large numbers at the Holy Cross Cathedral Church in Lagos to celebrate the new legal year with the Holy Eucharist Mass. It is a time when lawyers appreciate God as well as rededicate their service to Him and humanity. The chief celebrant, Anthony Cardinal Okoji, Catholic Archbishop Emeritus, charged lawyers to continue to be the voice of the voiceless, the poor and the less privileged in society.
They don't have to look at faces or look at who you are, what you are. You just speak out. I think it can even be compared in a way to the life of the work of priests. Any priest that starts saying because he's not a good priest, you must be ready to speak out the truth.
What does our faith tell us to do? It tells us to be just. It tells us to be merciful. It tells us to be compassionate. It tells us to be truthful. That we are called to exercise all these things in the practice of our faith.
We should fight for the poor. We are lawyers. We are gift to the church.
We should be able to speak that the anti-corruption war should get to all of us. That is what we are celebrating today.
Knowing that lawyers are agents of change, we pray for God's guidance. We pray that the Spirit will be with us as we move forward into the new year.
The event was rounded off with a special Thanksgiving service. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Wife of the Lagos State Governor, Bolanle Ambode, says all hands must be on deck to stamp out violence and hardship against the out-of-school adolescents. Mrs. Ambode stated this during the launch of Lagos Strategic Action Plan to empower marginalized adolescent and graduation ceremony of 300 out-of-school girls from 3 slum areas in the state. Nosa Osula reports.
Wife of the Lagos State Governor, Bolanle Ambode, advocated economic empowerment as the only means of making girls self-reliant and employers of labor. Mrs. Ambode also commended the Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation for the great initiative and determined commitment towards improving the lives of women in Lagos State.
The plan which was worked out by the Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation in collaboration with Action Health Incorporated has gone ahead to train about 300 out-of-school girls from slum communities in Ilaje Bariga, Sari Igomu, and Makoko.
The state government assured residents that the present administration is determined to empower the youth and vulnerable members of the society without bias to their ethnic, religious, or social status in order to enable them contribute to the development of the state. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
Well, that's our package from Lagos. It's back to you, Phil, for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Demola. In spite of its central role and being the most democratic arm of government, the legislature in Nigeria has also remained the most misunderstood. In this special report, National Assembly correspondent Waziri Zeyanu examines the history, challenges and prospects of the legislature in Nigeria.
Democracy has many definitions, one of which could be described as the presence of legislature and the constitution. The checkered history of legislative participation in governance and democracy in Nigeria dates back to the pre-independence activities of the Legislative Council under the British administration.
You know, and then you moved when we merged the Northern and Southern Protectorate, we started having councils. And people participation then was based on economic power, you know, your participation, your literacy, and all that.
Parliamentary democracy was handed over to Nigeria then with the first indigenous National Assembly constituted in 1963. With the First Republic failing and consequent takeover by military, the country moved to presidential democracy in 1979. However, before the lawmakers settled down to real business, there was another interregnum.
Without the legislature, we still had governments or administrations. And of course, a parody of the legislature in the military system. Supreme Military Council, as it were in the 1960s when Gawan became the head of state, and Armed Forces Ruling Council during the Babangida era. They were meant to replace the legislature, but legislature is not replaceable.
Aberration is what political scientists call President Ibrahim Babangida's experiment of a quasi-administrative arrangement. With the restoration of democracy in 1999, this most democratic arm of government had to start from ground zero and build up to what is today known as the longest periods of its existence in Nigeria.
For people like me who are proponents of a parliamentary system of government, would have loved to see Nigeria continue in line of a parliamentary system where the executive branch and the legislature are working in total harmony from day one.
In spite of discordant views in the ensued brouhaha, all arms of government meant well for Nigeria, as they were all determined to show that at no cost should the military be allowed to come back to power. After all, Nigerians fought to ensure the restoration of democracy, with some even paying the ultimate sacrifice.
Unfortunately, over the years, the women have not really held major positions within the legislature. The reason is not far-fetched.
2003 to 2007, therefore, witnessed the gradual reformation of relationship with apparent and quite obvious realization by all arms of government that cordiality far outweigh fight on sentiment if sustainable democracy is to be attained.
So we need to look at us now. how do we fare? Do we need to adjust? Do we need to correct? Do we need to change? The only thing I would say, why are we, the legislature, the National Assembly, are important? Because people who are present, the president or his structures, they are misplacing the pressure.
In spite of its disadvantage of just coming on board after a series of mishap or near obliteration, the legislative arm has been able to maintain some degree of cordial relationship with late President Umar Musa Yar'Adua, former President Goodluck Jonathan, and continue to do so with President Muhammadu Buhari. General consensus is that there is no better way of sustaining people's confidence in democracy than for all arms of government to work in total harmony. From the National Assembly, Waziri Zayan, NTA News.
It is a fact that no constitution, no nation. That is why Nigeria, since independence, has been experimenting constitutions that will suit its sovereignty and present realities. Against this background, correspondent Abdullahi Garba Kudu looks back at the developmental stages of Nigeria's constitution as Nigeria celebrates 56 years of nationhood.
Since it achieved independence in 1960, Nigeria has experimented 5 constitutions: 1960, 1963, 1979, 1989, and 1999. Currently, the National Assembly is in the process of amending the 1999 Constitution. The Constitution, as a supreme law of the land, is dynamic, which needs to be reviewed or amended from time to time to cue in with reality.
We often exaggerate our unhappiness with our Constitution. Let's not forget where we started from.
But there are varied views regarding the development recorded in developing Nigeria's Constitution, with many believing that there is nothing wrong with the supreme document, but its application.
Even the one that we claim is flawed, which is the 1999 Constitution, how much of it has been implemented? So the challenge basically is that whether a law is good or bad, it depends largely on the operators of the system.
If you change the Constitution of Nigeria today, once we are not following the letters and spirits of the Constitution, by next tomorrow people will start agitating that the Constitution should be changed.
As the nation is set to amend the Constitution at 56 years of its independence, many put forward suggestions on the way forward.
It is important to devote more resources to state governments by reducing the resources available to the federal government. We need to empower states. But in so doing, we also need to make sure that the capacity of states for good governance improves.
In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Kudu, NTA News.
The federal system of government being run since Nigeria's independence is a blessing that should be upheld. This was part of the views expressed by guests on NTA's current affairs program, Good Morning Nigeria, on celebrating Nigeria at 56. Salihu Abdullahi has the report.
56 years after her independence, the guests say Nigeria has experienced both the good and bad aspect of governance, which plays a significant role in measuring the country's growth index, especially with the over 16 years of uninterrupted democratic rule.
We have to be able to learn from the past. Most importantly, unlearn bad habits from the past. Yes, we decided for change, but we also realized that change needs money. Change needs to manage the present as well as create the future.
What is happening in this country is that we have neglected education totally. That is the bedrock that gave us this independence that we're celebrating. People who fought for this independence knew what was going on and understood the dynamics of politics.
Nigerians should be happy, should celebrate the fact that a turning point has been reached, which is that this country is making decisive movements in the direction of progress and national development.
However, the guests say it does not matter what people's perception about the state of the nation's growth is, but what matters most is the need for concerted efforts to turn around the current challenges to draft a new roadmap in sustaining Nigeria's rich history of unity in diversity.
If the country belongs to everybody, it is necessary for us to work together. And if we must work together, we must change our values. To change our values, the educational system becomes important. And that's why some of us wonder why we shouldn't have a very proactive and active research and development policy and institutions.
However, we must move on to other things. And this country has to move to agriculture, mining, and manufacturing in order that the country gets reliable means of foreign exchange inflow.
The guests say value reorientation and restructuring of governance process to fast-track ongoing efforts to diversify the economy and encourage micro, small, and medium enterprises to grow are a veritable platform to create wealth. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
So much for Nigeria at 56. A high-powered Senate delegation has visited internally displaced persons camp in Maiduguri on a fact-finding mission. Lami Ali has details.
The delegation comprises members from Senate committees on women affairs, primary healthcare and communicable diseases, as well as that of health. Senator Oluremi Tinubu, who led the delegation, said their mandate is on 3 key areas: implementation of Child's Rights Act, maternal and newborn health services, and National Strategic Plan of Action on Nutrition.
So they need help, and they need it very, very fast. Sleeping conditions are appalling. Medical condition, not to say the least, is not something to write home about. But not that the government has not worked. We've seen the zeal, we've seen the passion for the governor to bring back sanity to this state.
Wife of the state governor, Shettima, said the visit was encouraging.
I feel highly elated, and I'm sure that with Her Excellency Senator Remi Bola Tinubu, definitely very soon women and children of Borno will go into smile.
The courtesy call on Governor Kashim Shettima by the delegation was an opportunity for him to roll out statistics of the losses suffered as a result of the Boko Haram carnage and appealed for the intervention of members of the Red Chambers. Lami Ali, NTA News.
And in response to the appeal for more support for the internally displaced persons, IDPs in Nigeria, the Nigeria Girl Guide Association, a non-governmental organization, has donated aids to the occupants of Kuchigoro IDP camp in Abuja. Uche Wizu has this one.
Recent reports from UNICEF decry the alarming rates of hunger and malnutrition in IDP camps in Nigeria, and this is evident among women and children in the Kuchigoro camp. The excitement of these IDPs on sighting food, clothing and medical supplies could melt any heart.
It takes a long time that we didn't see any organization or a church or what bring some food items like this.
The Nigerian Girl Guides Association, which is concerned about the affairs of women and the girl child, visited to contribute its quota.
We make sure that the girl child is trained to reach her potentials in life. And many of our women are here, and the children.
Most especially children that are born here, innocent children that do not know what is happening, and they are given birth to a situation like this. Please, we should not deprive them from their livelihood.
We can't fault government. We have to fault ourselves, because really, how many people do we have in government? But we have individuals who have the resources, and we have individuals who have the time. If we all can come together, we can collectively do something about our brothers and sisters.
The donation was through efforts of members of the organization from across the country. Uche Nwizu, NTA News.
In the meantime, determined to speed up reconstruction of liberated communities in Borno State, Governor Kashim Shettima has visited Damasak, an economically strategic border town, to assess level of destruction occasioned by activities of insurgents. Mohammed Gobi has this report.
Situated about 186 kilometers from Maiduguri and less than an hour drive to the Republic of Niger, Damasak is the second local government headquarters was hit by the Boko Haram insurgency after Bama. Receiving Governor Kashim Shettima on arrival, the commanding officer 145 Battalion in Damasak, Colonel Jimo, informed the governor that the town was liberated in July through the joint offensive involving 145 and 223 Battalion, the Army Headquarters and Multinational Joint Task Force. The 145 Battalion is now in charge in Damasak. 27 other surrounding settlements and 4 others along Dushi were cleared, adding that people now lived in the liberated settlement. Governor Kashim Shettima expressed gratitude to the Nigerian military and Multinational Joint Task Force for liberating Damasak, describing the community as one that has historical relevance and economic life wire to the northern Borno, and pledged to look into challenges such as water shortage, among others. Addressing some residents of Damasak taking refuge in Nigeria Republic, Governor Kashim Shettima restated commitment to reconstruct Damasak and all other communities. Spokesperson for the IDPs from Nigeria Republic, Kazala Kaka, said the IDPs from the community want to return home as they are suffering untold hardship as refugees. Senator representing Northern Borno, Abubakar Kyari, appealed on them to be patient as efforts are on to resettle them. Over 10 million naira was realized during an on-the-spot donation to the cause of the IDPs in the community. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
You are still watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Time now to join our Kaduna Network Center, where Muslims are tasked to promote peace. Suleiman, you are on.
Thank you very much, Phil, and welcome. A renowned international Islamic scholar, Mufti Ismail Ibn Musa, has tasked Muslims in Nigeria to promote peaceful and harmonious coexistence in the country. The cleric stated this in Kaduna at a lecture on the role of youths in promoting peaceful coexistence in a multi-religious society, organized by Light of the Ummah Foundation. Ahmed Umar Kudan has the details.
The lecture, well attended by thousands of Muslims, is aimed at educating and sensitizing them on the importance of peace and unity for national development. Mufti Ismail, who heads Council of Islamic Scholars in Zimbabwe, said Islam encourages peace and unity, noting that the current global challenges erroneously being associated with Islam have nothing to do with its teachings. He therefore advised Muslims to seek knowledge with a view to projecting Islamic values.
I think what is of great importance is for us as Muslims to be promoting the peace and harmony that Islam actually stands for, and to clarify that the perception that the media is portraying at times because of the political violence that is occurring across the globe is actually not Islamic, even though sometimes people perpetrate these crimes in the name of religion, but they are not actually Islamic. So every one of us has a role to play.
Mufti Ismail, who has millions of followers on social media, said technology can be used positively to achieve needed peace globally.
We are trying our best to use it to portray what is good and to help people achieve the peace they desperately need once again.
Amir Light of the Ummah Foundation, Jamilia Hayakonde, speaks on their expectations.
He will be able to deliver a message that would reach out to people to bring about peace and coexistence in the state.
Similar lecture was held in Abuja and Kano respectively. In Kaduna, Ahmad Umar Kudan, NTA News.
And the Anglican Communion Kano Diocese has ended the third session of its 12th Synod, with a call on Nigerians to devote themselves to prayers to enable Nigeria get out of her present challenges. The call is contained in a communique issued after the session at the St. Stephen's Anglican Church, Kano. Sani Basiru reports.
The Synod commended President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration for its fight against corruption, but frowned at lack of prosecution, which is the basis of promoting the menace. It observed that crime and insecurity can hardly be separated from unemployment crisis, and therefore charged government to provide gainful employment as a way of addressing the issue. The communique appealed to Niger Delta groups to lay down their arms and called on both the federal government and the militants to seek for peaceful dialogue to address the lingering crisis. While opposing the sale of the country's national assets, the Synod urged government to redirect its focus to agriculture so as to produce abundant food for the populace and for export.
We have resolved on a number of issues ranging from spiritual life, economic life, social life, and all that will dignify God.
Nigeria as a whole should learn to believe God, that with God all things are possible.
The theme for this year's synod is Racing Against Time. In Kano, Sani Basiru, NTA News.
About 2 months after the development of a drug for the prevention of post-delivery complications by scientists at the Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital, Shika Zaria, the drug is rapidly gaining acceptance among women who are expecting delivery. Jemima Sheleng has the details.
Maternal mortality has always been a challenge in the country, as a number of women have died as a result of postpartum hemorrhage during childbirth due to bleeding. The situation is more devastating in rural communities. However, the discovery of misoprostol has brought some form of relief to the challenge. This drug has been tested on some women who have attested to the efficacy of the drug. For instance, Faiza Abbas and Zara Abdul Qadir in Sibiri, a village in Giwa local government area of Kaduna State, have used this drug.
Before the coming of miso, each time I give birth, I used to bleed. But each time I'm giving miso, I don't bleed anymore. The drug has helped me a lot.
These women in the rural communities are not alone, as increasing number of women in the rural communities are beginning to access misoprostol, which they've nicknamed miso. The drug, according to the traditional heads of these communities, has greatly reduced maternal mortality rate in their communities.
Before coming of the drug, which was in 2008 December, when it arrives here, we have been having incidences of this bleeding after delivery. It has been consistent.
Medical experts explain the availability and use of misoprostol.
Once the baby is delivered, within the first minute of the delivery of that baby, she should just put 3 tablets of misoprostol in her mouth.
They are of the opinion that with wide access, misoprostol will become the game changer in the fight against postpartum hemorrhage. In Zaria, Jemima Sheleng, NTA News.
Meanwhile, students of the Faculty of Social Sciences, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, have lent their voices on the fight against corruption as they organized a one-day conference with the aim of sensitizing the public on the menace. Hadiza Musa has the details.
The conference had the theme Corruption, Security and National Development. Various speakers, among them representative of the Governor of Zamfara State and Speaker House of Assembly, Sanusi Garba.
Very much Suleiman in Kaduna. This is Nationwide on NTA. We now pause for some messages. The news continues thereafter. Don't go away.
When has it reached this? Much less this. And this. And this. And this. Help reclaim our Commonwealth. Lend your support to the fight against corruption for a better Nigeria.
Institute of Strategic Customer Service and Trade Management, Nigeria, invites the public to First National Customer Service Summit to commemorate the 2016 International Customer Service Week. Theme: Shaping the Future of Customer Service in Nigeria for top and middle echelon of customer service and trade industry. This Customer Service Summit comes on the heels of growing concerns about the future of customer service in Nigeria and the need to transform the practice and sustain consumerism for enhanced overall national development. Date: 5th to 6th October 2016. Venue: Ostra Hall, Otumba Jubifele Way, Alausa Ikeja, Lagos. Registration can be done online by visiting the website. For more inquiries, call the registrar or any of these numbers. ICSTM, sustaining a culture of excellent customer service delivery and efficient trade management.
Don't go there. Professor is not around.
Now your father asked me this.
Don't be silly.
Don't be quack. I was talking. I just say prof they find fair fine girl. Now I say make I bring this my Rihanna.
I was not so yellow girl. I was so yellow face and black body.
This week on your award-winning comedy series, Professor John Bull, starring Kanayo Okanayo, Mercy Johnson, Queen Wokoye, Funky Malam, Goose Baba, Ime Bishop, Yomi Fash Lanso, MC for God, Stephen Odingbe.
I almost pretend you're here.
We are not eating peppermint.
Medoya, smile!
Hey!
Olari, smile!
Professor John Bull, fasten your seatbelts this Tuesday and Friday, 8:30 to 9 p.m. on NTA Network, International, and Star Times. It's absolutely bombastic.
Over and
the largest data network, Glow, grandmasters of data.
Why don't you people sell imported materials here? As beautiful as the shop is.
Auntie. Buying foreign goods does not help our economy. Neither does it boost local production. And the good thing is Nigerian-made products are high quality. Really? And to make Nigeria great again. That is.
Our latest edition of TV Guide is out. This edition of your favorite magazine will simply blow your mind. The package is loaded and our offering is quite illuminating. NTA has a new Director General, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad, a tested and trusted professional, an old wine that keeps getting better with age. This is the new driver of the digital switch over train. Get to know him more in TV Guide. And now, on our cover is one of Nigeria's most finest comic actors, Afiz Oyetoro, aka Saka. Peep into his world and you will see how he is putting from glory to glory. The change agenda of President Muhammadu Buhari, we did an assessment so far. All our refreshing columns and incisive features are a collector's item and research materials. TV Guide, available on your newsstands and in all NTA stations nationwide. Also in our embassies in United Kingdom, USA, China, Ghana and Egypt. TV Guide, grab a copy and give one to a friend. TV Guide, still your indispensable companion.
Thanks for staying tuned. Next on Nationwide, we go over now to our Port Harcourt Network Center for stories making the rounds there.
Thank you. You're welcome to Port Harcourt Network Center. The Rivers State Governor, Nyesom Wike, has charged Nigerians to rededicate their lives to building a united and prosperous nation where justice, peace, and rule of law shall prevail. The governor was speaking at the 56th Independence Anniversary celebration at the Shark Stadium, Port Harcourt. Vivian Izadife completes the story.
Governor Wike said the celebration affords Nigerians another opportunity for leaders to look inward for better life for her citizens. He said the nation has made significant progress in spite of many challenges confronting her. He, however, noted that it is important to tackle the structural problems undermining Nigerians' existence as a united, peaceful, and prosperous country. Outstanding schools and youth organizations were awarded prizes. In Port Harcourt, Vivian Izadife, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the wife of the Rivers State Governor, Justice Suzette Wike, has called on well-meaning Nigerians and non-governmental organizations and agencies to partner with government in the management of homes for the less privileged in Nigeria. The wife of the governor was speaking when she visited some children's homes and the home for the elderly as part of activities in marking the 56th Independence Anniversary. Emmanuel Lene completes the story.
Homes visited include Port Harcourt Children's Home, Port Harcourt Remand Home, Daughters of Charity School for
Association, Omobolanle Olonishaki, says it will help to address youth restiveness, which has become the bane of many societies. Defense correspondent Isaac Kunkuma reports.
The beneficiaries, numbering 31, were drawn from the Army, Air Force, Navy and police barracks in Abuja and trained in various vocational skills. As they graduate, starter packs were given to them to begin their business ventures in contributing to national development.
We want them to be self-reliant, we want them to be self-sufficient, and we want them to be engaged productively.
While congratulating the beneficiaries, speakers at the occasion urged them to be good ambassadors of the scheme to ensure sustainability. In Abuja, Isaac Nkuma, NTA News.
We now join our Jos Network Center for a report on violence against children campaign launched in Plateau State.
Hello and welcome to Jos. Every year, millions of children in Nigeria are said to suffer violence, with an estimated 6 out of every 10 experiencing physical, sexual or emotional violence. This statistics is part of findings of the 2014 National Survey conducted by the National Population Commission, NPC. Jumai Stephen reports that the NPC survey necessitated the launch of End Violence Against Children campaign in conjunction with UNICEF and the Plateau State government.
The Plateau State Violence Against Children Priority Action Plan, unveiled by the Deputy Governor, Professor Sonny Chuden, contains innovations aimed at protecting children from abuse, harm, and violence, thus providing an enabling environment for their safety and development.
Families, religious and religious institutions, as well as civil society organizations and various stakeholders, must join hands with government to fight these menaces.
The UNICEF representative's speech delivered by the Chief of Field Office, UNICEF Nigeria Bauchi Field Office, said Plateau State is the second state in north-central Nigeria and the fourth state in the country to heed to the call of ending violence against children. The children, who the launch seeks to protect, also added their voices in the campaign to end violence against them in a speech by their representative, as well as impressive anthem and drama. In Jos, Jumai Stephen, NTA News.
For residents of Jos, the public holiday marking the nation's independence was celebrated low-key. Rinret Lot has a situation report.
This was the mood at the Jos Wildlife Park as activities began to heighten. Though only a pocket full of people were seen at the park, they were having fun and enjoying the last day of the holiday. Eager children were seen at the playground enjoying themselves on swings, slides and seesaws. Even the animals seemed dull until these comedians sparked up their mood. In Jos, Rinret Lot, NTA News.
And that's our contribution. It's back to you in Abuja for more news.
Thank you very much. Kenya's foreign minister to contest African chairperson's post as Colombia voter rejects peace deal. This and more on Global Tidbits with Gabriel Odu.
Amina Mohammed is Kenya's foreign minister. She has been tipped for the African Union chairperson position. The African Union chairperson, Nkozama Dlamini Zuma, was expected to step down in July, but the three candidates running for the position could not get a two-thirds majority. And reports from Cape Verde say President Jorge Carlos Fonseca has been re-elected for a second term. In Congo Democratic, presidential hopeful Moise Katumbi, who is in exile in Belgium, says he will come back home to contest the election. And a peace deal in Colombia with FARC rebels has hit the rocks as voters in a referendum say no, with 50.2% votes cast. That's Global Tidbits. Gabriel Udu, NTA News.
And Super Eagles begin preparation for Russia 2018 World Cup qualifiers against Zambia as Maiden Badminton Club's championship serves off in Katsina. Kene Emabudike brings us details on sports updates.
When they clash with England Tuesday at the ongoing 2016 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup Group C second game. Nigeria currently occupied bottom place in Group C with no points, Brazil top with 3 points, while England and Korea Democratic People's Republic share 1 point apiece after their 3-all draw. All is now set for the maiden edition of the Association of Badminton Clubs Championship, which serves off Tuesday at the Golden Star Badminton Club, Katsina. 265 players, comprising 123 active and 142 veterans from 30 clubs across the federation, will take part in the week-long championship.
We have abundant talent in Nigeria, but then the talent are just rusting, because you cannot believe that this year throughout there has not been a single tournament in Nigeria.
It has been celebration galore as the United States dominated the final day singles to win the Ryder Cup for the first time since 2008, beating Europe 17-11 at Hazeltide, Minnesota on Sunday. Europe had looked set for the Medina-style comeback when they led in 7 of the 12 single matches, but the host turned the tide as Patrick Reed defeated Rory McIlroy in an epic tussle for the first of 7 U.S. wins, while Ryan Moore beat Lee Westwood on the 18th green for the decisive point. With sports update, Kene Imabodike, NTA News.
Thank you, Kene. And just before we go, a reminder that you can get all our stories and much more when you log on to our website, www